You wake up tired, you drink coffee to feel human. By 3 p.m., you're crashing. You push through the rest of the day running on fumes, telling yourself you'll get better sleep tonight. But then you lie in bed, exhausted but wired, scrolling your phone until way too late, and the cycle starts all over again. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Millions of people are walking around in a constant state of fatigue, wondering why they feel like they're running on empty even when they're doing everything right. You're getting sleep, you're eating, you're taking vitamins, but you still feel like you're operating at 50% capacity on your best days. Here's what nobody wants to admit. The reason you're always tired probably has nothing to do with how many hours you slept last night, and it has everything to do with how you're spending your energy when you're awake. The biggest energy drain in your life isn't your job, your kids, or your schedule. It's your mind. Specifically, it's the constant mental activity that never stops running in the background like apps you forgot to close on your phone. Right now, even as you're listening to this, part of your brain is probably thinking about your to-do list, replaying a conversation from earlier, or worrying about something that might happen tomorrow. That background mental chatter is burning through your energy reserves faster than any physical activity ever could. Think about your computer when it's running too many programs at once. It starts to slow down, the fan kicks in, and eventually it overheats and crashes. Your brain works the same way. When you have too many mental processes running simultaneously, your system becomes sluggish and starts to shut down. But here's the part that really gets me. We've normalized this constant mental exhaustion. We think it's just part of being an adult, having responsibilities, caring about things. We've accepted that feeling drained is the price of having a full life. But what if I told you that the most energetic, vibrant people aren't those who have fewer responsibilities? They're the ones who have learned to manage their mental energy as carefully as they manage their time and money? Here's something that might surprise you. One of the biggest energy drains is caring too much about things you can't control. And I don't mean big, obvious things like world events or other people's choices. I mean the small, daily things that you worry about, manage, or try to influence without even realizing it. You care about how your text message was received. You care about whether your coworker thinks you're doing a good job. You care about the mess in your house, the bills that need to be paid, the phone call you need to make, and the 15 other things on your mental list that aren't urgent but somehow feel important. Each thing you care about requires a small amount of mental energy to maintain. It's like having dozens of browser tabs open. Individually, they seem harmless, but collectively, they're slowing down your entire system. And here's the kicker. Most of the things you're spending mental energy on either don't actually matter or are completely outside your control. You're burning through your daily energy allowance on things that don't improve your life or move you toward your goals. Let me ask you something. How much of your daily energy goes toward managing other people's emotions, expectations, or reactions? If you're honest, it's probably more than you'd like to admit. You craft text messages carefully to avoid misunderstandings. You say yes to things you don't want to do to avoid disappointing people. You modify your behavior based on what you think others expect from you. You worry about whether you're being too much, not enough, or just right in every interaction. This is exhausting because you're essentially trying to control something that's impossible to control, how other people feel about you. And the mental energy you spend on this impossible task is energy that's not available for things that actually matter. People-pleasing isn't just about being nice. It's about trying to feel safe and accepted by managing everyone else's experience of you. But this strategy requires constant vigilance, constant adjustment, and constant worry about whether you're doing it right. The most energetic people I know have something in common. They've stopped trying to manage other people's emotions and started managing their own energy instead. Here's another major energy leak that most people don't recognize: perfectionism. Not the obvious kind where you spend hours perfecting a project, but the subtle kind that shows up in how you approach everything in your life. You can't send an email without reading it 3 times. You can't leave the house without checking your appearance multiple times. You can't have a conversation without mentally rehearsing what you're going to say. You can't make a decision without researching every possible option and outcome. This constant need to get everything right, to think through every possibility, to present yourself perfectly in every situation, it's exhausting. You're spending enormous amounts of energy on things that don't actually require that level of precision. And the irony is that perfectionism often makes you less effective, not more. While you're spending mental energy trying to craft the perfect email, someone else sends a simple, direct message and moves on with their day. While you're researching the perfect decision, someone else makes a good enough choice and adjusts course if needed. Your energy follows your attention. If your attention is scattered across 20 different things throughout the day, your energy gets scattered too. You end up feeling busy but not productive, active but not effective, engaged but not satisfied. Most people's attention is like a flashlight with a dying battery. It flickers between different things without really illuminating any of them clearly. You start one task, get distracted by a notification, remember something else you need to do, check your phone, start another task, and by the end of the day you've touched everything but completed nothing meaningful. This constant task switching and attention splitting is incredibly draining because your brain has to work harder to refocus every time you shift your attention. It's like stopping and starting your car at every intersection instead of driving smoothly down the highway. The people who seem to have endless energy aren't necessarily doing more things. They're doing fewer things with their full attention. They've learned to focus their mental energy like a laser instead of scattering it like a disco ball. Here's a pattern I see constantly. People push through fatigue all day, then try to recover by doing things that actually drain them more. They collapse on the couch and scroll social media, binge watch shows, or engage in other passive activities that feel like rest but don't actually restore their energy. Real recovery requires what I call active rest, activities that actually replenish your mental and emotional resources instead of just distracting you from your exhaustion. This might be spending time in nature, having meaningful conversations, doing something creative, or simply sitting in silence without any input or stimulation. But we've been conditioned to think that rest means entertainment, that recovery means distraction. So we fill our supposed downtime with activities that require us to process more information, manage more stimulation, and engage with more content. The result is that you never actually recover from the day's energy expenditure. You go to bed with the same level of mental fatigue you had when you got home, and you wake up already behind on the energy you need for the new day. If you want to get your energy back, you need to start treating it like the finite resource it is. This means doing an energy audit, looking at where your mental and emotional energy is going throughout the day and asking whether each expenditure is actually worth it. Start by noticing what drains you versus what energizes you. Not just the obvious things, but the subtle ones. Which conversations light you up and which ones leave you feeling depleted? Which activities make you feel more alive and which ones make you feel more tired? Which thoughts and mental habits are energy vampires? Are you spending energy worrying about things that probably won't happen? Are you replaying conversations that are already over? Are you trying to solve problems that aren't yours to solve? Once you start paying attention to your energy the way you pay attention to your money, you begin to see how much you've been spending on things that don't provide any return on investment. Getting your energy back isn't about doing more self-care activities or getting more sleep, though those can help. It's about becoming strategic about how you spend the energy you have. This means learning to say no to energy drains that don't serve you. It means setting boundaries around your mental and emotional availability. It means choosing to engage fully with fewer things instead of partially with everything. It means recognizing that your energy is not unlimited and that saying yes to one thing means saying no to something else. When you spend energy on things that don't matter, you don't have energy available for things that do. The most energetic people aren't those who have discovered some secret source of unlimited energy. They're the ones who have learned to be ruthlessly selective about where their energy goes. They don't try to be everything to everyone. They don't care about every opinion or worry about every outcome. They focus their energy on what actually matters to them and let everything else go. You don't have to accept constant fatigue as a normal part of life. Your energy can be restored, but it requires treating it as the precious resource it is instead of spending it carelessly on things that don't deserve it. If you're ready to stop feeling tired all the time and start reclaiming your energy, drop this in the comments. My energy is sacred, because it is. Your mental and emotional energy is one of your most valuable assets, and it's time to start treating it that way. Share this with someone who's been running on empty for too long. Sometimes realizing that being tired isn't inevitable, it's often a choice about how we spend our energy, is exactly the insight someone needs to start making different choices and getting their life force back.